Yesterday, I got a text from a number I didn't recognize. Congratulations on your engagement, sweetheart. I'd love to be there for your special day. We need to talk. Mom. I stared at that message for 20 minutes before I realized I was shaking. My mother, who hasn't spoken to me in 15 years, somehow found out about my engagement and wants back in my life. But here's the kicker. She'll only come to my wedding if I also invite Dennis, the stepfather who made my childhood a living hell. The woman who chose her abusive husband over her own daughter now wants me to choose him over my own peace of mind on the most important day of my life. I don't even know where to begin with this mess. I'm 28F, getting married to my amazing fiancé Jake, 30M, in 6 months. We've been together for 4 years, and he's the first person who's ever made me feel truly safe and loved. The engagement has been the happiest time of my life, which makes what happened next feel like such a cruel irony. My mom, Linda, 52F, and I have had no contact since I was 18 and moved out for college. She's been married to Dennis, 56M, for about 16 years now. He came into our lives when I was 12, right after my parents' messy divorce, and everything went to hell pretty quickly after that. I need to give you some context about Dennis to understand why this is so complicated for me. When Mom first started dating Dennis, he seemed okay. Not great, but okay. He was attentive to Mom, brought me little gifts sometimes, tried to connect with me about school and hobbies. Looking back, I think he was love-bombing both of us, but I was 12 and just wanted Mom to be happy after the divorce. Things changed about 6 months after he moved in with us. It started small, comments about my appearance, my grades, my friends. Nothing Mom would consider serious, but enough to make me uncomfortable in my own home. Dennis. Sarah, you're getting a little chunky, don't you think? Maybe lay off the after-school snacks. Me. I'm not chunky, I'm growing. Mom, tell him. Mom. Dennis is just looking out for your health, honey. Maybe he has a point.
Or,
Dennis, your room is a disaster. In my house, we keep things clean and organized. Me. It's not that messy, and it's my room. Dennis. It's my house, little girl. My rules. Mom. Sarah, just clean your room. It's not that hard. The pattern was always the same. Dennis would criticize or control something about my life. I'd push back, and Mom would side with him.
every
Single.
time.
By the time I was 14, it had escalated to full psychological warfare. Dennis had rules for everything. What I could wear, who I could hang out with, what activities I could do, even what I could eat. He justified everything as preparing me for the real world, or teaching me discipline. Some examples. I had to ask permission to use the bathroom during family time, which was whenever he was home. I couldn't close my bedroom door unless I was changing clothes, and even then only for a few minutes. I had to earn privileges like using the phone or watching TV by completing arbitrary tasks he'd assign. He controlled the thermostat and would make it uncomfortably cold, then criticize me for wearing sweatshirts. You look sloppy. He read my diary and confronted me about normal teenage thoughts and feelings, calling me dramatic and attention-seeking. The worst part was how he'd gaslight me about all of it. Dennis, I'm trying to help you become a responsible adult, Sarah. Your mother spoiled you, and now I have to fix the damage. Me, you're not my dad. You can't tell me what to do. Dennis, you're right, I'm not your dad. Your dad abandoned you and your mother. I'm the one who stepped up and took responsibility for this family. Mom. Dennis, don't say that. But Sarah, you need to show more respect. He's trying to help. When I was 16, things came to a head. I had been dating a boy named Marcus for a few months, my first real boyfriend. He was sweet, respectful, and my friends liked him. Dennis hated him on sight. Dennis, I don't like that boy. He's trouble. Me, you don't even know him. He's nice. Dennis, I know his type. He just wants one thing from you, and when he gets it, he'll be gone. Mom, maybe Dennis has a point. You are pretty young for a serious boyfriend. Me, we're not having sex. We just like hanging out together. Dennis, don't lie to me, young lady. I see how you look at him. Dennis became obsessed with monitoring my relationship with Marcus. He'd drive by the school to see if we were together. He'd check my phone constantly. He even called Marcus's parents to introduce himself and share his concerns about their son. Marcus's parents thought Dennis was creepy and told Marcus he couldn't see me anymore. When I found out what Dennis had done, I completely lost it. Me, you ruined everything. Marcus won't even talk to me now because you're a psycho. Dennis, watch your mouth. I protected you from making a mistake you'd regret. Me, I hate you. I wish you'd never come into our lives. Dennis, well, I'm here now, and you're going to follow my rules whether you like it or not. Me, Mom, please. He can't do this to me. Mom, Sarah, calm down. Dennis was just trying to protect you. Me, protect me from what? Having a normal teenage relationship. Mom, you're too young to understand, but someday you'll thank him. That's when I realized my mother had completely chosen him over me. She wasn't just failing to protect me from his controlling behavior, she was actively enabling it. Things got worse after that. Dennis implemented new rules. No phone privileges, no going out with friends, straight home after school. I was essentially under house arrest for my attitude and disrespectful behavior. The final straw came when I was 17. I had been accepted to a good university with a partial scholarship. I was so excited it felt like my ticket out of that house. But Dennis had other ideas. Dennis, community college is more practical. University is just going to fill your head with liberal nonsense. Me, it's a good school and I got a scholarship. Dennis, scholarships don't cover everything. You'll go into debt, and for what? So you can come back with a useless degree and an attitude problem? Mom, maybe he has a point. Community college would be cheaper. Me, Mom, this is my future. This is my chance to get out of here and build a life. Dennis, what's wrong with here? This is your family. Me, you're not my family. Dennis, I'm more family to you than your deadbeat father ever was. That night, Dennis sat me down for what he called a serious conversation about my future. Mom was there, nodding along like a bobblehead. Dennis, Sarah, I've been thinking about what's best for you. I think you should take a gap year. Live at home, get a job, save money. Learn what the real world is like before you go running off to college. Me, no.
I'm not doing that.
Dennis, it's not up for discussion. You're 17, and while you live under my roof, you follow my rules. Me, I'll be 18 in 3 months. You can't stop me from going to college. Dennis, actually, I can. I control the finances in this house, and I'm not signing any loan documents or paying for any college expenses. Community college or nothing. Mom, sweetie, maybe it would be good for you to mature a little before college. You've been so angry lately. Me, I'm angry because he controls everything I do. I can't even breathe in this house without permission. Dennis, that's exactly the kind of attitude I'm talking about. You're not ready for independence. The escape. That conversation broke something in me. I realized that no matter what I did, how well I performed, or how compliant I was, Dennis would never let me go. And Mom would never stand up to him. I spent the next 3 months planning my escape. I applied for financial aid on my own, got a part-time job, and saved every penny and reached out to my dad, who my mom had basically made the villain after the divorce, to ask for help. Turns out, my dad had been trying to stay in touch with me for years, but Dennis and Mom had been intercepting his calls and letters. When I finally called him from a friend's phone, he was shocked to hear from me and devastated to learn what had been happening. Dad. Sarah, honey, I had no idea things were this bad. I thought you didn't want to talk to me. Me. Dennis told me you didn't want visitation anymore. He said you were too busy with your new life. Dad. That's not true at all. I've been sending child support and asking to see you for years. Your mother always said you were too busy or didn't want to see me. My dad helped me get financial aid sorted out and offered to let me live with him the summer before college. On the day I turned 18, I moved out. Just packed my stuff while Dennis was at work and Mom was at her book club, left a note and walked out. The note said, "I'm an adult now, and I choose to leave. Don't contact me unless you're ready to apologize for choosing Dennis over your own daughter for the past 6 years. I went to college, did well, built a life for myself. I lived with Dad for a while, which helped me understand that healthy relationships don't involve constant criticism and control. He wasn't perfect. The divorce had been messy for good reasons, but he never tried to manipulate or control me. Mom tried to contact me a few times during college. Always emails about family and forgiveness and how I needed to understand Dennis's perspective. Never an acknowledgement of what had actually happened or an apology. Always some version of he was just trying to help you become a responsible adult. The last email I got from her during my junior year of college said, "Sarah, I love you and miss you, but Dennis is my husband and your stepfather. This is your family, whether you like it or not. When you're ready to be part of this family again, we'll be here." I never responded. I graduated college, started my career, met Jake, built a life. For 10 years, I didn't hear from her at all. I honestly thought she'd given up. Jake knows the whole story. Early in our relationship, I was very upfront about my family situation because I didn't want him to be blindsided if it ever came up. Jake: "So, you haven't talked to your mom in how long?" Me: "About 8 years at that point. She chose her husband over her daughter. Some bridges you can't uncross." Jake: "That's really sad. I'm sorry." Me: "It is what it is. My dad and I have a good relationship now, and I've got chosen family with friends. I don't need someone in my life who thinks controlling behavior is love." Jake: "Have you ever thought about reaching out? Maybe she's changed." Me: "If she'd changed, she would have reached out with an actual apology by now, not just demands that I accept her husband." Jake has been nothing but supportive, but I can tell he doesn't fully understand. His family is close and loving, and while they have their problems, they work through them. He can't quite grasp how a parent could choose a spouse over their child so completely. Which brings us to the current situation. 3 weeks ago, Jake and I got engaged. We've been planning a smallish wedding, maybe 80 people, with my dad walking me down the aisle and Jake's family filling most of the pews. We posted some engagement photos on social media, Jake's account, since I keep mine private, and started planning. Then yesterday, I got that text. My first instinct was to block the number and pretend it never happened. But something about the timing, right after our engagement announcement, felt too calculated to ignore. I showed Jake the message. Jake: "Wow. After 15 years, this is how she reaches out." Me: "I don't even know how she got my number." Jake: "Probably from your dad's social media or through other family." Me: "What do I even say to this?" Jake: "What do you want to say?" Me: "I want to say go to hell, but that's probably not productive." I decided to call her. I figured if we were going to have this conversation, it should be a real conversation, not a text exchange that could be misinterpreted. Mom: "Sarah? Oh, honey, I'm so happy you called." Me: "Hi, Mom. I got your message." Mom: "I saw the engagement photos. Jake seems lovely. You look so happy." Me: "I am happy. Why are you calling now after all this time?" Mom: "Because my daughter is getting married, and I want to be there for the most important day of her life." Me: "You weren't there for any of the other important days of my life for the past 15 years. Mom: "Sarah, please. I know we've had our differences, but you're my daughter. Nothing changes that." Me: "Our differences? Mom, you chose Dennis over me. Repeatedly. For years." Mom: "That's not fair. I was trying to hold our family together." Me: "What family? You, me, and your controlling husband who made my teenage years miserable." Mom: "Dennis loves you, Sarah. He always has. He was just trying to be a father figure when you needed one." And there it was. After 15 years, she still didn't get it. Still defending him, still rewriting history to make his behavior acceptable. Me: "Mom, he isolated me from my friends, controlled what I ate and wore, read my diary, and tried to sabotage my college plans. That's not love. That's abuse." Mom: He was strict, yes, but he cared about your future. Me. He cared about controlling me. And you let him. Mom, I was trying to give you stability after the divorce. I thought having a father figure would be good for you. Me. I had a father figure. I had Dad. Dennis drove a wedge between us and made you complicit in it. Mom, your father was unreliable.
Me. No, Mom.
Dennis told you Dad was unreliable and you believed him instead of me. The conversation went in circles for about 30 minutes. Mom kept defending Dennis, rewriting history, and acting like I was being unreasonable for holding grudges. Finally, I cut to the chase. Me. Mom, why are you really calling? What do you want? Mom, I want to come to your wedding. I want to be part of your life again.
Me. Okay.
You can come to the wedding.
Mom. Really?
Oh, Sarah, that's wonderful. Dennis will be so excited. Me. Wait.
What?
Mom, Dennis will be so happy to see you. He's missed you so much over the years. Me. Mom, I didn't invite Dennis. I said you could come. Mom, well, obviously Dennis would come with me. He's my husband. Me. No, he's not invited. Mom, Sarah, you can invite me, but not Dennis. We're a package deal. Me, I absolutely can, and I am. Mom, that's not reasonable. You can't expect me to come to my daughter's wedding without my husband. Me, I'm not expecting anything. I'm offering you a chance to be there for me. You can take it or leave it. Mom, Sarah, Dennis is part of our family. He's been your stepfather for 16 years. Me, he's been your husband for 16 years. He stopped being any kind of father to me the day he decided control was more important than love. That's when Mom dropped the bomb. Mom, Sarah, I love you, but I'm not going to sneak around behind my husband's back to attend your wedding. If you want me there, you need to invite both of us. Me, are you giving me an ultimatum? Mom, I'm telling you how things are. Dennis and I are a team. We've been together for 16 years, and we've built a life together. I'm not going to exclude him from major family events. Me. He excluded himself when he made my life hell for 6 years. Mom, that's your perspective. Dennis remembers things differently. Me, I'm sure he does. Mom, look, Sarah, I understand you have some resentment, but it's time to move past that. You're getting married, starting a new chapter. Don't you think it's time to forgive and move forward? Me, forgiveness isn't the same thing as forgetting. And moving forward doesn't mean pretending the past didn't happen. Mom, so what are you saying? You're going to let old grudges keep you from having your mother at your wedding? Me, I'm saying I'm not going to let the person who made my childhood miserable ruin my wedding day. You're welcome to come. He's not. Mom, then I guess I won't be there. She hung up on me. I told Jake about the conversation and he was supportive, but I could tell he was troubled by the whole thing. Jake, I'm sorry, babe. That must have been really hard. Me, I knew it was too good to be true. For a minute there, I actually thought maybe she'd changed. Jake, maybe she has changed in some ways, but she's still married to him. Me, yeah, and she's still choosing him over me. Jake, do you think there's any chance you'd consider letting him come? Just to have your mom there? I looked at Jake like he'd grown a second head. Me, are you serious? Jake, I don't know. It's your mom, you know? And it's been 15 years. Maybe he's different now. Me, Jake, this man spent 6 years of my life making me feel worthless and small. He isolated me from friends, controlled my eating, read my private thoughts, and tried to sabotage my future. My mother watched it happen and did nothing. Some things you don't get to come back from. Jake, I get that, I do. I just think maybe what? Jake, maybe it would be worth it to have your mom there. She's going to regret missing your wedding. Me, she's choosing to miss my wedding. That's on her. Jake, but you're choosing to, right? You're choosing not to invite him. That conversation didn't go well. Jake backed down pretty quickly when he saw how upset I was getting, but I could tell he thought I was being unnecessarily stubborn. He apologized and said he supported whatever decision I made, but the seed of doubt was planted. I called my dad to tell him what happened. Dad, I'm not surprised. She made her choice a long time ago. Me. Jake thinks maybe I should consider letting Dennis come just to have Mom there. Dad. Jake's a good guy, Sarah, but he didn't live through what you lived through. He doesn't understand what Dennis put you through. Me. I know, but what if I regret not having her there? Dad. What if you regret having him there? It's your wedding, kiddo. You get to decide who gets to celebrate with you. I also talked to my best friend Megan, who's been my maid of honor and knows the whole story. Megan. Absolutely not. Do not let that man anywhere near your wedding. Me. But what if this is my only chance to have a relationship with my mom? Megan. Sarah, listen to what you just said. She's making her relationship with you conditional on you accepting her abusive husband. That's not love. That's manipulation. Me. Maybe I'm being too hard on him. It was a long time ago. Megan, stop. Just stop. You went to therapy for years to undo the damage that man did to your self-esteem. Don't let anyone, even Jake, convince you that you should expose yourself to that again. But then I started getting calls from extended family. Somehow word had gotten out about the situation, probably from Mom, and I was getting helpful advice from aunts and cousins. Aunt Patricia. Sarah, honey, I know Dennis can be difficult, but your mother loves you so much. Don't you think you could put aside your differences for one day? Me. Aunt Pat, with respect, you don't know what went on in that house. Aunt Patricia. I know he was strict, but maybe that's what you needed at the time. Your mom was dealing with a lot after the divorce. Me. Being strict and being controlling are two different things. Aunt Patricia. I just think you should consider forgiveness, for your own sake. Holding on to anger will eat you alive. Cousin Rebecca. I heard about the wedding drama. That sucks. Me. Yeah, it's complicated. Cousin Rebecca. Look, I get it. Dennis can be intense. But your mom has been with him for 16 years. He's not going anywhere. Me. I know that. Cousin Rebecca. So maybe it's time to find a way to coexist? You don't have to love the guy, but for your mom's sake. Me. Why is it always for my mom's sake? What about for my sake? Cousin Rebecca. I'm just saying, you only get one mother. Me. And she only gets one daughter, but that doesn't seem to matter to her. The self-doubt. The more people weighed in, the more I started second-guessing myself. Maybe I was being too rigid. Maybe 15 years was long enough to hold a grudge. Maybe Dennis had changed. Maybe I should prioritize having my mother at my wedding over settling old scores. I found myself Googling things like, should I forgive abusive step-parent and how to deal with family ultimatums. The advice was all over the place, but one article really stuck with me. It said something like, forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean accepting bad behavior. And it definitely doesn't mean allowing someone who hurt you to continue having access to hurt you again. But then I'd think about walking down the aisle without my mom there, and my heart would break a little bit. Jake's family is wonderful, but they come from a very different background. They work through problems, they communicate, they don't cut people off. When Jake told his mom about the situation, she had strong opinions. Jake's mom, Carol, oh, that poor woman. She must be heartbroken. Jake. I think Sarah's pretty heartbroken too. Carol. Of course she is. But 15 years, Jake. That's a long time to hold on to anger. Jake. It's not just anger, Mom. Dennis was really controlling and emotionally abusive. Carol. I'm sure it was difficult, but people can change. And Sarah was just a teenager. Maybe her perception of things was colored by typical teenage rebellion. Jake. I don't think that's what this is. Carol. I just think it would be sad if she let pride keep her from reconciling with her mother. When Jake told me about that conversation, I felt like screaming. Me. Pride? She thinks this is about pride. Jake. She doesn't understand the situation. She's coming from a good place. Me. Jake, your mom is basically saying I was an overdramatic teenager who can't get over normal discipline. Jake. That's not what she meant. Me. That's exactly what she meant. And the fact that you're not more upset about that is really bothering me. Jake. I am upset. I told her she was wrong. But Sarah, she's going to be your mother-in-law, and she's just trying to help. Me. By suggesting I was making up the abuse? Jake. She didn't say that. Me. She said my perception was colored by teenage rebellion. How is that different? That fight lasted 2 days. Jake kept trying to smooth things over and find middle ground, which just made me feel more alone and misunderstood. In my darker moments, I started wondering if maybe everyone else was right and I was wrong. So I did something probably unhealthy. I started researching Dennis online. Turns out he's still the same guy. His social media is full of posts about discipline and respect and kids these days. He shares articles about participation trophies ruining children and posts memes about how, in my day, kids knew their place. Just last month he posted, "Raising children isn't about being their friend. It's about preparing them for the real world, even if they hate you for it at the time." Too many parents today are afraid to be the bad guy, and that's why we have a generation of entitled brats. The comments were full of people agreeing with him, including my mother. So true. Tough love builds character. I also found out that he's had issues with other kids in the extended family. My cousin Mark, from Dad's side, had mentioned a few years ago that Dennis made some inappropriate comments about his daughter's appearance at a family barbecue, but I hadn't connected the dots at the time. When I called Mark to ask about it, Mark, "Oh yeah, Dennis is a piece of work." He made some comment about how Sophie needed to dress more modestly because she was asking for attention from boys. She was 14 and wearing a perfectly normal summer dress. Me. What did you do? Mark. I told him to keep his opinions about my daughter to himself. Linda tried to smooth it over, said he was just looking out for Sophie, but we haven't been to any family events where he'd be there since then. Me. Why didn't you tell me about this? Mark. I figured you had enough on your plate with your own Dennis issues. Plus, you weren't talking to that side of the family anyway. So no, Dennis hasn't changed. He's still the controlling, inappropriate man who made my life hell, and my mother is still making excuses for him.